What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Vikings Now. I'll be your host for today's show, Patrick Siepman. And coming up on today's show, we got the latest around Danielle Hunter. Obviously, there was a report about a week ago now from Ian Rapoport that the Vikings are fielding calls on the star edge rusher. And now we got the report that Danielle Hunter is going to be skipping mandatory minicamp for the Minnesota Vikings. Then we're also going to be touching on Alexander Mattison and if a breakout season could be potentially coming for the Minnesota Vikings running back. We're going to be getting into all that and more in today's video. But guys, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button. I hopped in the analytics on YouTube. 69.1% of you guys aren't subscribed. So I'm calling out all 69.1% of you guys to hit that subscribe button right now. Help us here at Vikings Now, and hit that subscribe button. Free, easy way to stay on top of all Vikings news and rumors all up until the start of the season. But this is a report that broke earlier today, probably about 30 minutes ago from when we're recording, and that is that Danielle Hunter plans to skip Vikings mandatory minicamp, obviously coming after the report that the Vikings were fielding calls for the star edge rusher. But the main reason why he's skipping is that base salary in 2023. He is set to only make $4.9 million in this upcoming year, and rightfully so. Danielle Hunter expects to get paid more than that. He is one of the better edge rushers in the NFL when he is fully healthy and ready to go. And I've been a fan of Danielle Hunter ever since the day the Vikings drafted him in the second round out of LSU. But this past season, 65 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 10.5 sacks, but it was really the second half of the year we saw Danielle Hunter take that another step. But if we look back to that 2019 season and even the 2018 season that isn't shown on screen, he had 14.5 sacks back-to-back years, and obviously he had the neck surgery in 2020 and then the torn pec in 2021. But my take on Danielle Hunter is that I still truly believe he can be a top 7 edge rusher in the NFL. I always thought Danielle had, maybe top 3, top 5 edge potential in the league, but I just think because of injuries, it kind of just took his game and took it a step back. But my overall take is that I really do believe he can be a top 7 edge in the NFL, and we saw that come to fruition in the second half of the season last season. He started off slow, rightfully so, though, because the Vikings were switching from a 4-3 to a 3-4. Danielle Hunter was always a hand-in-the-dirt type of edge, and then once you stand him up and having him drop back in the coverage every play here and there, I just think it kind of messed with Danielle Hunter's kind of rhythm and game a little bit. But once he got settled in and once he was ready to go in that second half of that season, we saw him take that next leap and really become one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. So I'm still a believer in Danielle overall, but I'll ask you guys this. I'll make this the pinned comment on today's video. I got more thoughts here in a second. Would you trade Danielle Hunter? If the right trade package comes across your phone, comes across your screen, would you be willing to move off the star edge rusher out of Minnesota? Let me know. Give me a T for trade or give me a P for pass on today's pinned comment. Pass, pass, pass. I got to say it 3 times. I am out on trading Danielle Hunter. I think if you're looking at this Vikings edge group just as a whole, listen, I think Danielle Hunter, if we're talking just overall impact on a defense, and if you're talking like most valuable player on a defense in the NFL, it honestly might be Danielle Hunter for the Minnesota Vikings. Like, truly think about how bad this defense could be if you remove Danielle Hunter from it. Like, we would have to move off Danielle Hunter, we would be rocking with Marcus Davenport, Patrick Jones, and just a bunch of no names at that edge position. We all know how important it is to get to the quarterback in the NFL, but he is one of your best defenders. Pay him like that. Like, he is 28, turning 29. I still do think he has 3 solid years left in the NFL in his prime. Like, I think Danielle Hunter would shock me over the next 3 seasons if he racks up 40 sacks total. No, not at all. I think Danielle Hunter, he deserves to be paid as one of the higher paid edge rushers in the NFL. Maybe he's not top 5, but he at least deserves to be top 10. So you guys got to compensate him like that, because I do not want to imagine what this team could look like if you would take Danielle Hunter off this team. I just think it could be it could get ugly for the Minnesota Vikings defense in this upcoming year. But if they were to move off him, these were 5 trade destinations that have been kind of floated out there. The Baltimore Ravens had number 1. They're always aggressive, especially on the defensive side of the football, seeing them trade for Roquan Smith next year. Maybe they could throw the Vikings a first-round pick and try to go get Danielle Hunter. But then also the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs, maybe they're trying to take advantage of the Super Bowl window they have with Danielle Hunter. Then the New York Giants, their name has been linked a lot. And then also the New York Jets, they're kind of going all in, obviously with Aaron Rodgers. Maybe they could be trying to make a blockbuster move and add Danielle. And then the Washington Commanders. Maybe we could see a Danielle Hunter, Chase Young type of trade kind of come to fruition here in the upcoming future. But those are 5 teams that could potentially be trading for Danielle. But Kwesi, don't you do it. Keep Danielle Hunter on the Minnesota Vikings. Now let's talk about it. The NFL media, they suck. I wanted to curse them out right there, but would decide not to. Because I'm just tired of hearing about how bad the Vikings running backs are going to be from NFL media members. Whether it's Kay Adams or our very own Marshall Green here in the Chat Sports offices. They just don't believe in this Vikings running back group, and it's starting to piss me off. But first off, I just do want to say, I think the Vikings made 100% the right call here from moving on from Dalvin Cook. Yes, would I have liked to gotten maybe a 5th, 6th, 7th round pick? Of course, and Dalvin was great in Minnesota, but it was the right move. It is the right move to kind of just move off this kind of Dalvin Cook era in Minnesota, and Kwesi, I think he just made 100% the right decision. But let's focus in here on Alexander Mattison, because if you're talking about one person that's going to benefit the most from this whole kind of Dalvin Cook being cut from the Vikings roster, it's going to be him. And Alexander Mattison, as a starter in the NFL, when Cook did have to miss time, he's been pretty solid. I don't think Mattison, his game, he's the best change of pace back from Dalvin Cook, but when he's getting majority of the workload, he's fantastic. In 6 games as a starter in his career, he's averaging 115 yards per game, just under 80 rush yards per game, 4.1 yards per carry, and 6 total touchdowns in those games. Vikings are actually 4-2 in those games when Alexander Mattison was the starter. I just think Madison's kind of getting disrespected amongst NFL media members, and I'll kind of dive into the other running backs in this group here in a second, but show Mattison some love down in the comments. Go type that jersey number, show him some support, because NFL media sure as hell not going to be showing Mattison that support. Type 2 in the comment section. But overall, with the Vikings running back group, it's those other guys that fire me up. Yes, we know what we have in Mattison. He's kind of that thunder, kind of that bulldozer type of running back at the running back position. But it's those other guys on this Vikings team that really fire me up. We can start here with Ty Chandler. The Ty Chandler with the 5th round pick out of North Carolina next year. You say that name to other NFL fans, and they're kind of look at you like, who is that? But the thing is with Ty Chandler, he dominated his college career. He started off at Tennessee for his first 3 seasons, transferred over to North Carolina, 600 carries, 3,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, 5.2 yards per carry. There's a lot of traction. There's a lot of just overall carries on that kind of workhorse that Ty Chandler is. But the tape doesn't lie with Ty. That kind of rhymed as I'm saying it out loud. The tape doesn't lie with Ty. I mean, he is absolutely explosive. He looks the part of an NFL running back. He is a complete running back. Whether it talks about making that one move and turning up and getting upfield, or being that bulldozer, being that pass catcher, he checks almost every single box. Now, does he do anything absolutely great at that kind of NFL level? No, but he is really good at about everything. I'm excited to see him play in this upcoming year. But we can also toss it to the 7th round rookie we drafted, DeWayne McBride. I've been saying this, I've probably said this in about 3 or 4 videos now. If you guys are bored later tonight, go throw on some DeWayne McBride highlights, and this will fire you up. This dude dominated last year at UAB. Just over 1,700 yards, 7.4 yards per carry, and 19 touchdowns. You don't just roll out of bed and do that. You have to have some special type of talent to rush for over 7 yards per carry at the Division I level. He is a guy, yes, the pass catching ability with him, he doesn't really have that dual threat ability. But in terms of just running the football on 1st and 2nd down, I mean, DeWayne McBride might be my favorite kind of piece for the Vikings running back group to kind of be the workhorse on those early downs. But overall, I do think it's going to be coming down to Ty and McBride for that battle for the running back 2 spot. I think Mattison, he'll obviously just kind of get the nod as RB1 early on in the season. But it will be curious to see what the Vikings do at RB2, who does get those secondary reps for them. And honestly, at the end of the day, I could see this being a running back by committee where Kevin O'Connell, very similar to what he did back in his Los Angeles Rams days with Sean McVay. It was a running back by committee. Everybody kind of got equal carries, and it really kept the legs fresh. And another guy you can't forget about is Kene Wangu, the gadget guy, our kick return specialist. He's been explosive, and just he has made plays over his past first 2 years with the Minnesota Vikings. So you can't forget about him. He's a guy where I expect, Kevin O'Connell, maybe last year he didn't really have those trick plays set up for him, but I think in this upcoming year, whether it's a jet sweep, wide receiver screen, running back screen, whatever it is, I think he's going to find a bunch of, creative ways to get him the ball. But I ask you guys, well, how much confidence do you have in this Vikings running back room? Scale of 1 to 10. Honestly, I'm sitting at a healthy 9 or 10 right now. I'm really not too worried about this running back room because at the end of the day, it comes down to just production as an offense. A lot of this does just fall on the offensive line and then just the running backs making plays from the opportunities that their offensive line has given them. But let me know, scale it 1 through 10, your confidence level in the Vikings running back room. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. We're closing in on 13,000 subscribers here. I showed you guys at the beginning, 69.1% of you guys aren't subscribed. So go down there, hit that subscribe button, free, easy way to help us out. See you guys next time. Skol Vikes.